60% of leading CEOs say that managing people is their greatest weakness. And that comes down to accountability. And if we don't have good accountability in our business, we are leaking performance and profit all of the time. At the heart of accountability is the feedback conversation. And it's something that I think most people struggle with to some extent. You know, we try to balance being supportive and empathetic with actually getting things done. And the trap is we either become so supportive and empathetic that the intensity of the message is lost, or we become so focused on driving performance that we armor up and we really focus hard on being hard and direct, but we lose something in the quality of the relationship we have with that person. So finding the balance is really important. And what I'm going to share with you now is really a two-part process that we get it right. The first part is not about the actual process and the conversation. It's thinking about what our mindset needs to be like before we even get started. So what I want you to think about is, instead of being hard and direct, think about caring for the person that is struggling with their performance in some way. At the end of the day, we need to approach this of wanting to help them be more successful. Because let's face it, if they're more successful, we're going to be more successful. So it's taking that coach and mentoring approach to truly understanding what their issue is and what's holding them back. Because if we can fix that, they're going to step up and be more successful anyway. The second part of mindset with the performance conversation or the feedback conversation is going into it with the understanding that we don't necessarily know where this is going to land. And I know I've had conversations in the past where I've tried to plan everything out about how I was going to manage that conversation so I got the outcome that I wanted, but we lose something in that. Because when that conversation actually starts, we don't know really where it's going to go. The opportunity to learn more about the situation is absolutely critical to get the best outcome. So we need to approach it with a level of curiosity. We want to present what the issue is and then have a conversation so that before a decision is made, we have a really strong understanding of what needs to happen. We understand root cause of the issue. And with that information, we can now move forward. So step one of the constructive feedback process that I share is get your mindset right. Approach it with a balance of care and concern mixed with curiosity so that we're really focused on getting the best outcome for everybody. Step two is, well, what's the issue? What are we here to have a conversation about? What was the problem? Was it a missed KPI? Was it a complaint from a customer? Was it something more internal? What's the problem that we need to fix? Step three is sharing and having a conversation about the impact. So we have a problem. Well, now, why am I concerned about it? Why is this problem impacting on the business to the point where you and I need to have a chat about it? So we start with mindset. We then go into just naming the issue. We talk about the impact of the issue. And then the next step is to have a conversation about it. I invite them. So, well, what do you think about it? What's your take on this? And, you know, so often I talk with clients about them having a performance conversation, and I get them to share it with me. And all I hear from them is what they had to say, as if that's the most important part. It's not. Those first few steps are really just setting it up. The most important part of the feedback conversation, and when accountability and responsibility lands, is when we stop talking and we hear the response from the person we're having the meeting with. Well, I want to know, are they taking responsibility? Or are they assigning blame to something else? Or is there something else that's happened that I just wasn't aware of? And so it's really important that I listen carefully. That seek first to understand from Covey is just so important in this situation. And I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to be open to learning things that I wasn't aware of before. Because it's only when I take that approach that I actually begin to understand the whole situation that we're dealing with. So we have a conversation about their side of things. So it's an opportunity to learn more and discover. And once I've discovered everything that I feel I need to know about the situation, now we're going to decide on step 5, which is the action. How are we going to move forward from this? And again, I'm going to invite them to suggest to me, I'm going to say to them, well, how are we going to move forward from this? What do you think you should do? And I'm really curious to hear what they say. And if their recommendation for moving forward is something that I'm happy with, I'll say, fantastic, that sounds great. Let's check in with that next week. And that check-in process for the following week, because I want to see how it's going, that's closing the accountability loop on that whole conversation. It's not going to end with them telling me their intention. I want to make sure it's happened, and I want to learn how well it went. But let's say what they've suggested isn't quite right from my perspective. Well, I'm going to have a conversation with them about how they could possibly tighten that up or improve it in some way. So I might say, well, what about if you try this? Or I think you should include this in those next steps. And we talk about it, we have an agree an outcome, and again, we have the accountability meeting next week to see how it went. Perhaps though, what the situation that we're dealing with is much more serious than that. And I'm not really open to a conversation about what next steps should be. It might be a safety issue or a major issue with a client. So I'm going to say, I'm going to be 100% directive in next steps. I'm going to say, no, in this case, what I need you to do is A, B, C, and D. And I'm going to check on you tomorrow or on Monday about how that went. So that's the process in a nutshell. I hope this short video has been really helpful for you. These are the things I love to talk about. If you would like more information, in the notes there'll be a link to a download so you can get a PDF with more detail around what you've just been listening to. And if you'd like to have more of a chat, there'll also be a link to book a time with me so we can have a quick chat and see if there's anything else that I can help you with. I look forward to seeing you sometime soon. Cheers.